What's up, internet? My name's Ori. It is Thursday, September 11th, day number 66 inside the Big Brother house. It is eviction day. Who will be the second member of our jury to leave the house tonight? Where do the votes stand? Plus, Vince and Morgan soap opera drama continues, as well as Ashley being messy, which leads to Keanu going against Kelley. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we were live last night for our second watch party in a row. We had Tuesday night's watch party, Wednesday's night's watch party, and we will be live once again tonight for the live eviction. If you haven't come on out to one of the live watch parties, they're always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in the chat. So come on out. Should be a good one. We're going to see the blockbuster, the eviction, and any other potential twist that might take place tonight. A little bit of a recap for you if you haven't been keeping up with everything going on this week. After Mickey was evicted 6-1 and we had the start of jury, that led us to the White Locust Resort, which was opened, leading to a series of events where Rachel was eliminated from the game and Lauren was the new HOH. Lauren nominated Ashley, Morgan, and Will as 3 nominees. Blockbuster still in play, but Morgan went on to win the power of veto, which was BB Comics. He then used that to save herself from the block, and Keanu was put up as the replacement nominee by Lauren. That takes us to yesterday, and one of the things we talked about in yesterday's update was Morgan and Vince staying up very late into the early morning because Morgan was very upset with Vince spending so much time with Lauren, and they were kind of going back and forth at each other. And one of the things that they ended up saying to each other was how much they love each other. And they said, "I love you." Vince said, "Let me hear you really say it. I want to hear you say it like you mean it, Morgan." I love you, Vince. So yeah, that whole thing has been going on back and forth. This morning, Morgan and Vince still going back and forth at it. Morgan saying to Vince, "Are you mad at me? Are are you mad at me?" And Vince saying, "No, I don't think I ever could be mad at you. Unless you evicted me, then I'd be mad at you. But no, I'm not mad at you." So that's a whole thing that's been going back and forth. Meanwhile, people are still kind of debating what they should do with the vote. There's not really much of a debate with Keanu. People are almost just assuming that Keanu is going to win the blockbuster competition at this point, and they're really only focusing in on the Will versus the Ashley vote. That's like the only one that they really are even considering at the moment. And Vince and Ava kind of met up to kind of talk about where their heads are at, and Ava says she sees why people would want to keep Ashley and she kind of understands it. Vince says he's kind of 60-40 on keeping Ashley, but he needs to go talk to Will and kind of figure everything he wants to do out. And Vince says he's just looking for that golden reason, that thing that he can use to keep Will, because that's what he wants to do personally. But game wise, he feels like Ashley is the better option. Vince then goes on to go have a chat with Will to try and talk about the vote and the pros and cons of him and Ashley, but ended up just talking more about the situation with Morgan and Lauren than anything else. But he does kind of fill him in on, the reasons why people are kind of looking at potentially voting him out, because he would go on to probably win every vote moving forward, and people don't feel necessarily comfortable sitting next to him, whether it's on eviction night or in the final 2, because he probably would win. And he's saying that it's probably closer to a lot of people actually thinking that than not. And personally, he would love to have Will in the game, but game wise, he just doesn't know. And then we had Will meeting up with Ava, and he kind of fills her in on everything he's hearing about, like, all these reasonings that Vince was just telling him, and on why he would get voted out. And he just tells Ava, like, listen, at the end of the day, like, you're still my number one. And if you're there at the end, you have my vote. And one of the things that Will says, he's like, if I go home because I'm a nice guy, I go home because I was nice. That's how it goes. Yeah, you just, at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for y'all's game. Morgan, Ava, and Ashley all had very similar combos in different combos, right? Like, you had Morgan and Will, and Morgan and Ashley, Morgan and Ava, Ava and Ashley, just lots of different combos, all just kind of having the same conversation about, the pros and cons of keeping Ashley versus Will and just how different things are going. Morgan, when she was talking to Will about her vote, it really just ended up with Will telling her, like, listen, don't trip. You're still my girl, right? Like, it's fine. You got to do what you got to do. Ashley ends up telling Will that if he does leave, and this is a really interesting thing because I did not know that Will was aware of this fact. Ashley tells Will if he does leave, he has to make sure that he tells Rachel to keep her being a lawyer a secret. Yeah. So not only does Rachel know that Ashley is a lawyer, Will also knows. I was not really actually aware that Will knew. I knew Rachel knew. I think we might have even seen that on an episode when Ashley filled Rachel in on that. I forget exactly when I saw that. I did not know that Will was aware, so she tells her Will to make sure that Rachel doesn't reveal that secret in the jury because she wants to use that in the end at her final speech. But she does say that getting to the end would be a lot harder if Will is not here, and she really wants to make it to the end with Will because that is how the two of them can actually do it together. Morgan and Ashley, they also kind of wonder like how Will actually found out that it was likely that he was going to be voted out because they kind of wanted to tell him that situation, and they kind of wonder if Ashley was the one to do it. In fact, Morgan is straight up mad that Will found out. Like she's like really mad that he found out before she spoke to him about it because she wanted to kind of fill him in. And it was all actually because Vince kind of ran the pros and cons with Will, but Morgan thinks it's because Vince ran the pros and cons with Lauren, who told Ava, who then told Will, and that's why she's really upset. She's mad at Lauren and Ava. Ashley ends up telling Morgan, not to say anything to Vince, but Ava had told Ashley that Lauren doesn't like Morgan. So Ashley being a little messy, a little pot stirry, going and telling Morgan that she's hearing them that Lauren doesn't actually like you. Like this is not good for you, Morgan. I know you don't like her, but guess what? It's confirmed she doesn't like you. We also ended up getting Keanu, who got into it a little bit with Kelley because he had started to hear, all different kind of things that he was telling her, coming back to him from a bunch of different people. And he was telling her, like, listen, like, you can't be going around telling people information I'm giving you, especially things like my noms. Kelley denies that she said anything still. And eventually we actually got Kelley, Ava, and Lauren kind of all talking about, listen, like, we got to make sure that we get rid of Keanu. Like, if we have that shot, we got to do it. We also got Vince and Kelley, who ended up meeting up talking about Keanu still. And Vince just kind of lies that he told Keanu anything about what Kelley told him. And it was one of those things where, again, Kelley says, if we have that opportunity at Keanu, we have to take that shot. And Vince kind of asks, like, if she would give him a sympathy vote. And Kelley says, listen, Keanu wins, like, he would go after you and Morgan. I ain't giving him nothing. So Kelley is really going against Keanu in this, but she also says to Vince that it makes sense for Ashley to stay. Like she gets this. And that's probably, what they could probably do with their vote. But also Will is somebody that she could also see as being a reason to stay. So they kind of go back and forth on that. And Vince agrees, that just personally Ashley irritates him so much, but also Will is somebody he really likes. And while it makes sense for Ashley to stay, he really kind of just can't stand her. Kelley says, well, yeah, you should hear the things that Ashley says about you. And Vince is like, well, I mean, you you could tell me. Like if you know some things, you could tell me. She says, well, Ashley goes around saying that you and Morgan are in a showmance. And Vince is like, what are you talking about? We're just friends. We're just friends, guys. That's all. They're just friends. And Vince ends up having a conversation with Lauren where he was kind of confirming that, like, yeah, he thinks he's going to end up keeping Ashley over Will just because she is kind of that bigger target, even though personally he really doesn't, want to keep Ashley. He would rather keep Will. For his game, though, it makes more sense to keep Ashley. And he also goes on to tell Lauren, like, trying to make a little bit of a wedge in there with the Lauren and Kelley relationship that's kind of been forming. That he doesn't respect Kelley's game and all the lying and the instigating that she does. So once again, trying to push them apart as well. And we also get Vince telling Lauren that Kelley said that Ashley is going around telling people that they're in a showmance. And he asked Lauren, he's like, Lauren, does it look like me and Morgan are in a showmance? And Lauren just kind of, mm-mm, no, 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 nope, mm-mm, mm-mm. That little head shake that Lauren does when she clearly knows, yeah, it does look like, bro, it looks like you're in a showmance, but I'm not going to tell you that. You seem very upset that people are saying that you're in a showman, so I'm not going to say it. But nope. And Vince also brings up the idea that Keanu was saying that Ava, Kelley, and Lauren have this final three. And Lauren tells Vince, like, hell, that's not a final three. We just have each other's backs. You know, like an alliance does, like a final three, but it's not a final three, I promise. Eventually, though, we got Vince who told Morgan all about what Kelley said that Ashley was saying with them being in a showmance. And Morgan's response is one of the greatest things ever. Morgan, literally, Vince goes, yeah, Ashley's going around saying that we're in a showmance. No, that is Kelley is lying. That is not true. Morgan literally laughs in Vince's face. Like the idea that they're in a showmance, she laughs. But Morgan, I don't know, maybe look in the mirror. When you look at the videotape back, you might end up agreeing why people might see this and why people might say this, Morgan. You might understand it. They end up having a chat where they want to kind of clear the air with Ashley. This was kind of actually at Morgan's pushing. She was like, Vince, let's just talk to Ashley, right? Like, come on, like, we could trust Ashley. It's fine. We could just go talk to Ashley. Let's just clear the air, right? Let's just go nip this in the bud and get it all figured out. Which they do. They went and they talked about it. And it seems like, hey, everything's fine now. Everything's good. But Ashley's messy ass goes and tells Keanu. And then Keanu, he gets woken up and he is full on just boom into full on mode. Like he is basically cracked out here in the middle of the night now, like just so amped up. He ends up going and having a conversation with Vince and Morgan, just kind of pushing them and talking about everything that's going on. Eventually, Morgan just kind of slips out. She was like, I'm going to get out of here. And he keeps going at Vince about just everything that's been going on. He says he's jacked up. He's ready to go. He's like, I don't even know if I can sleep. I don't like, I'm like, this is exciting. And it's really more about him getting actually upset with Kelley now because of Kelley going around saying all this different information about the things that he's saying, and that's getting him in trouble. So he's not even necessarily mad at Ashley, Morgan, or Vince or anybody like that. He's actually mad at Kelley. He then goes and just pretty much it was like Kramer going on into the apartment in Seinfeld. He bursts on into the bathroom through the door, and he's like, Morgan, Ashley, I got nothing to lose at this point. People are freaking out, and they're saying everything about what I'm going to be doing and who I'm going to be putting up. I'm telling you, I'm putting Lauren, Kelley, and Ava up on the block, and I'm breaking that up if I win the HOH. Like I said, Keanu was also telling Vince, like, he's like, I didn't have a number one all game. This proves it. I never did have a number one. And this season is all about people saying they have a number one, and they're talking about who's your other people's number ones. And he's like, is this like the first season they do that? Because if I hear somebody say that this person's my number one, that's the first person I'm putting them up on next to the block for. Yeah, Keanu, that's 100% right. That's how you should be playing. If someone says, yeah, this is my number one in the game, guess what? Boom, boom. Those are your two nominees. Real easy. Break it up. Because if somebody says they're your number one, or that's your person, or whatever it is, that should be your biggest clue that, boom, that's a duo in this game, and that's something you have to break up. And it's one of the very simple fundamental things about Big Brother. And I don't know, people seem to lose that concept over time. Keanu also had a little bit of a plan that he started activating, which was Operation Get Ashley to Throw the Blockbuster. Doesn't seem like that's really going to be a thing that Ashley's going to do, but hey, maybe she will. Keanu's at least making that attempt. And then we ended up with Vince and Morgan once again back at it with the whole, "Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me?" This time it was more Morgan who was saying it to Vince. And Vince is like, "No, like, I'm just mad that, Morgan, with everything that Kelley said, like, I told you about it, and then you made me tell Ashley, and so I did, and then Ashley went and told Keanu, and now Keanu, he's gonna go tell Kelley, and that's gonna get back to me again." And it's just like, I just don't like participating in all this gossip. So he's upset with Morgan now that she's making him get involved in the whole telephone he said she said game that is Big Brother. So yeah, that is basically where we're at with all the drama from yesterday. We could take a look here at our allegiance chart once again for the week. How I have it kind of set up is almost like the pyramid of power, right? I think Ava is kind of in that best spot at the moment as she's got kind of allies kind of draped around her with Lauren and Will, Ashley and Kelley all kind of being somewhat connected to Ava. So it kind of puts her there at the top. Vince Morgan and Keanu kind of at the bottom as just kind of like big targets that people see in the game. And then one of the other issues is, and we've talked about this before, how we were talking about if Keanu ends up winning the blockbuster and it's Ashley versus Will. Judging by this, you would think, well, Will is in a better position than Ashley. The issue is that is a visible position. That is not something that people don't realize when you're in that good position. Just because you're in that good position, you have to stay in that good position. And when people see you in that spot, that's one of the reasons that they want to take you out. And that's exactly why Will is in danger right now, because they realize that if they sit next to Will, they probably go home. If they sit next to Will in the final two, they probably lose to Will. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you have the chance to get him out now with so few numbers and so many nominees still out there, keeping Ashley around as a spot for one of those third nominees makes a lot more sense than keeping Will around, who probably wouldn't end up being in one of those nomination chairs, meaning it's way more likely that you would be in those nomination chairs. So that's kind of where we're looking at things at the moment. It does seem like Will, at the best, would have Ava and Kelley as potential votes for him, but even Kelley seems to be kind of more on the side that Ashley would be the better one to keep at this point. And that also might just be because of just numbers at this stage. Morgan is pretty much on the side of keeping Ashley almost solidly. Vince seems to be on that side as well. One of the big reasons is Will and Ava. That is not something that is completely invisible. People know that that is a little bit of a relationship. So if you can break that up with the Ava, Lauren, and Kelley situation that's been forming that people are all aware of as well, you can't really let Ava have that many allies still in the game. If you have the opportunity to weaken her a little bit, probably is best to do that now. So it does seem like if Keanu wins the blockbuster, Will be the most likely person to go to jury and be that second member to join Rachel in the jury. But again, it all comes down to this blockbuster competition with this still going into the game this late into it. It really makes competitions once again that much more important, and they already were important this late in the game. So we're going to have to see how this all plays out. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you want to see win the blockbuster competition? Would it be Ashley, Keanu, or Will? Who do you want to see evicted this week between Ashley, Keanu, and Will? And who would you like to see win the HOH moving forward in the next round of the game as we move closer and closer to finale night, where we will find out the winner of Big Brother 27. Let me know all that in those comments down below. But if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. The easiest way to support this channel, lets the YouTube guys know that what we do here is a good time and people should check it out. So hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. We will be live again tonight for the live eviction watch party here on the channel. So make sure you come on out, join us in chat. It's always a lot of fun. Check out all of the links to my socials in a pinned comment description down below. You can check out things like Twitter and Discord. The Discord's been amazing. Just so much fun hanging out with all of you guys in our Discord server, where you can chat about Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, which is going to be coming up with BB players. You can post pictures of your pets, what you're cooking up for dinner. You can talk about sports. It's just a great place to kind of hang out with other people who love Big Brother, but other reality shows and a lot of great interests. that you can go and chat about in the Discord. So go check that out as well. Thank you guys all again so much for the love and support you show me here. And I will see you tonight.
Maybe just like
you want to, yeah, you
do
want to
some
kind of like rub it out a little bit.
rotating.
Mm-hmm.
Or rotating.
You got to get some movement in there.